Monica Harris had worked her way up from humble beginnings, carrying with her the sharp mind and unshakable discipline that made her one of the most respected CEOs in the logistics industry. Her company handled global contracts worth billions, yet SH never forgot the long nights SH spent studying by candlelight in her grandmother's small home. Successes hadn't been handed to her, SH had carved it out of sheer determination. By now, Monica was accustomed to flying first class. It wasn't about luxury, it was about efficiency. Long meetings, constant negotiations, and global travel left her with little room for rest, so every minute of comfort on a plane helped her prepare for the work ahead. That morning, as SH approached the airport counter with her assistant, Monica immediately sensed the tension. The airline agent barely looked up, typing slowly and sighing dramatically as if Monica's presence was an inconvenience. When Monica presented her ticket, the agent smirked widened. Looks like your reservation has been chunked. You'll be in economy. Monica frowned. SH knew her company paid for a first-class seat. Calmly, SH explained there must be a mistake. But the agent leaned back, folded her arms, and spoke in a patronizing tone. If you don't like it, you can take another flight. Otherwise, economy is all you've got. The line behind her grew restless as people mattered. Some passengers gave Monica sympathetic looks, while others whispered with mocking smiles, amused at the idea of a black woman being told to sit where SH belonged. Monica's assistant tried to protest, but Monica placed a steady hand on her arm. SH wouldn't create a scene, not yet. With her head held high, SH walked down the aisle toward the back of the plane. Later and hushed jiggles followed her, but SH ignored them, sliding into her cramped seat with quiet dignity. SH didn't need to argue at the counter. SH had far more powerful tools at her disposal. In that moment, the airline thought they had humiliated her. What they didn't know was that their arrogance had just set off a chain of events that would change everything, for them, for the passengers watching, and for Monica herself. As the passengers continued to board, Monica settled into her seat, her posture calm but her mind racing. SH wasn't embarrassed, SH was irritated, and irritation was dangerous when directed at someone with her level of influence. Her phone buzzed softly. It was a message from her assistant, who had boarded separately to avoid driving attention. They really pushed you to economy. Want them to make the call. Monica stared at the message for a moment, then typed back with a slow, deliberate touch, do it. Across town, in her company's glass tower headquarters, Monica's board of directors were already aware of her travel plans. They knew every contract the airline's parent company depended on. They also knew their CEO's value. If SH was disrespected, their reputation as a company was at stake. Within minutes, phone calls began rippling through executive circles. Meanwhile, Monica remained in her seat, perfectly composed. A flight attendant approached her with a forced smile. Please put your phone away, ma'am, we're about to close the cabin doors. The tone was dripping with condescension, as to SH were scalding a child. Monica gave a polite nod, slipping the phone into her bag, but the faintest curve of a smile touched her lips. She had no idea that her assistant had already pulled the trigger. In the airline's corporate office, a CEO in a tailored suit received an urgent call. His face drained of color as he listened. The logistics firm that moved nearly half of their international cargo was threatening to pull their inshore contract, effective immediately. The reason, his airline had just, accidentally, insulted the very woman who made that deal possible. Back on the plane, passengers were restless, buckling in and checking the time. Monica crossed her legs and leaned back, her expression unreadable. SH didn't need to demand respect. SH had already set in motion a storm of consequences. And while those around her thought SH was just another weary traveler forced to skis into economy, SH knew that this flight wasn't going anywhere until SH allowed it. The captain had just finished his standard safety checks when the call came through his headset. The message was short, urgent, and delivered with a weight he didn't often hear from headquarters. Ground that flight immediately. Do not let it depart until further notice. A VIP passenger has been mishandled. Fix it now. Confused, the captain frowned and relayed the command to the crew. The jet bridge, which had already pulled back, was ordered to reconnect. The flight attendants looked at each other in disbelief, muttering about delays and annoyed passengers. Over the intercom, the captain announced in his calm pilot's voice, "Ladies and gentlemen, due to unforeseen circumstances, we will be experiencing a short delay before takeoff. Please remain seated." Granes filled the cabin. A businessman slammed his laptop shut in frustration. A mother sighed as her child began to cry, and whispers rose from passengers who had already been impatient with boarding. Most had no idea why the plane was being held up, but Monica knew. SH didn't even look up from her phone as a pair of senior managers in crisp sights boarded the plane, their faces tight with panic. "Excuse us," one of them said breathlessly, scanning the cabin. "We're SMS. Monica Harris." Every head turned. The same woman they had seen quietly sliding into a cramped economy seat just minute ago was suddenly the center of attention. The smirks from earlier vanished. Whispers spread like wildfire through the cabin. "Wait, who is SHA? We are the executives here for her. What is going on?" Monica raised her hand slightly, calm and composed, as if SH had been expecting them all along. The managers rushed to her side, apologizing profusely in hushed voices that carried through the silent plane. "Ms. Harris, there has been a terrible mistake. Please allow us to escort you back to first class, where your seat has been prepared." The same flight attendant who had spoken to her with thinly veiled disdain earlier now stood frozen, her face pale. Monica rose smoothly from her cramped seat, her posture radiating quiet authority. Passengers leaned into the aisle, watching as SH was escorted toward the front of the plane, the executives practically bowing in apology. For many on board, the sight flipped summiting inside them. The woman they thought could be dismissed was suddenly revealed to be someone powerful enough to ground a plane with a single phone call. By the time Monica settled back into her rightful first-class seat, the cabin atmosphere had completely shifted. Where there had been smirks and whispers of mockery, now there was stunned silence, punctuated by the occasional gasp as realization dawned on the passengers. People craned their necks to catch one more glimpse of her, phones discreetly lifted to snap photos of the woman who had just turned an entire airline upside down without raising her voice. The flight attendants, honest dismissive, now hurried nervously around her, offering champagne, warm towels, and repeated apologies. Monica accepted none of it with anger. Instead, SH remained composed, her presence alone a lesson in restraint and authority. SH sipped her water, opened her laptop, and returned to reviewing documents as to nothing had happened. For her, this wasn't about indulgence. It was about principle. By the time the plane finally took off, social media was already buzzing. A passenger had live tweeted the incident, "Black woman downgraded to economy." 10 minutes later, execs stormed the plane to apologize. Who is SHE? Within hours, hashtags trended worldwide. News outlets ran the headline, "CEO grounds flight after airline tried to humiliate her." The airline issued a public apology the very next morning, citing an unfortunate misunderstanding. But the damage had been done. Monica's quiet defiance had ignited conversations about respect, bias, and the subtle ways power is often tested against those who don't fit society's expected mold. Other executives, activists, and ordinary people flooded her inbox with messages of support, many thanking her for standing tall in a moment where others might have shrunk. When SH later addressed the story in an interview, Monica didn't break her glut. Instead, SH said, "This wasn't about a seat on a plane. It was about dignity. If I accept being treated as less than what I am, I open the door for someone else to be treated the same way. That is not leadership. That is silence. And silence helps no one." From that day forward, Monica became more than just a CEO. SH became a symbol. A reminder that real power doesn't always roar, it makes one phone call, stands with quiet dignity, and changes the game for everyone watching.